Guys, you need to know about the brain model is what we have here, not more. If in the, as usual, if in the textbook or in the lab manual you have the structures and names that you are not familiar with them based on the handouts, you are not responsible for it. And between the cranial nerves, you will see the cranial nerves that we have. How many cranial nerves do we have?
12.
That's the spine and the 12 pairs. So we won't go over all of those, so that's a good news for you. Just some of them, 2 of them, which are optic nerve and the olfactory nerve, which are very easy to find them here. So the thing that I'm going to do today, I'm not going to go over all the parts of the brain because that's a lot of information, and some of them aren't familiar to you because we didn't have a lecture yet. So I probably will stop up to the cerebellum. Probably I go to the end of the brainstem. And then the major parts of the brain that you have to know. What are the major parts of the brain that you know?
Cerebrum.
Cerebrum is the largest and the most important part. What is the most important part here?
Size of intellect.
Everything. Side of intellectual abilities, and also you have a lot of synapses here. The cells are synapsing together here, a lot of millions of neurons, right? What's the second part of your brain that you know? The second largest part
Is the cerebellum.
cerebellum. So this is cerebellum. So cerebrum is the largest part of your brain, and the cerebellum is the second largest part, right? What are the other parts you know?
Yeah, the midbrain.
Diencephalon is located between the cerebrum and the brainstem, so it's connects the cerebrum to the brainstem, and then you have the brainstem. Your brainstem, guys, consists of 3 major parts that we will talk about. Okay, so let's go over the handout what we have to know here. So it starts with the first major part of your brain that we call it cerebrum, right? In the cerebrum, on the surface of the cerebrum, you guys know that we have the shallow grooves that we call them what? Sulci. Each of them is called sulcus. And then you have the deep grooves that we call them fissures, right? So let's see what are the sulci that we have to know. The first one here is called central sulcus. Where is it located, guys? The central sulcus. On the surface, it separates the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe, and is this line here. Can you see the letter G here? Just enter, that's the clue. Just enter here to the letter G here and continuation here. That's the border that we call it central sulcus. This is your central sulcus. And then you have another sulcus that we call it lateral cerebral cortex, sulcus, or simply you can call it lateral sulcus. That's this one. Can you see the letter H and K here? It's all the way here. It separates the temporal lobe from the parietal lobe. This is the lateral sulcus. Vivian, you're very tall today. Yeah. The lateral sulcus. And then the lobes. How many lobes do you have on the surface of the cerebrum?
Yeah.
Right. What are these lobes?
We have the
This
frontal
one is the
lobe,
frontal lobe, and then you have
the
parietal
parietal,
lobes, and you have
The temporal
the temporal lobes, and this is the
occipital
which
lobe.
one is the fifth one? It's called insula. Can you see it on the surface of it? It's hidden under the lateral sulcus, so it's under here. Under here, you cannot see it, right? So the lobes
On
that
both
you are
sides, yeah?
on both sides. So the only lobes that you are able to see them are frontal lobe, parietal lobes, temporal lobes, and occipital. Next, it's not easy. And then you have the big fissure here. This fissure here all the way. What is the fissure?
a deep groove.
The deep groove. So the shallow grooves in general are called sulci. Always, you will see that in the spinal cord we have the same story, and also in the kidneys you have the same story. So always the deep grooves are called fissures. So the deepest groove that you have here and the widest cerebrum into right and left hemispheres here is called what?
Longitudinal.
Longitudinal fissure. So longitudinal fissure is the deep fissure which divides the cerebrum into right and left hemispheres. All right. Where you are from? You are tired? Okay. And then, so of course, right and left hemispheres are here. They are separated by the longitudinal fissure. On the surface of the cerebrum, guys, you have these folds. These folds are called gyri. Each of them is called
Gyrus.
Why you have folds on the surface of the cerebrum?
When you were
to increase the
when
surface
brain-
area. That's true.
when
But
we have
I mean,
growth
that's what
in
they
brain,
have.
Because
What
during
they
the embryonic period,
during the embryonic period, what
when the
happens to the
brain
brain?
grow-
the gray matter develops faster than the white matter.
And
so
folds.
forms the bones.
During the development, the growth of the gray matter is much faster than the white matter, so they have to fold on the surface, right? We call them gyra. And then the small, shallow grooves between the gyra are called sulci. So all of those are the sulci. All right. They're right, and the two cerebral hemispheres are connected together by the part of the white matter that we call it corpus callosum. Can you see the corpus callosum here? You have it on both sides. The other hand is here. So corpus callosum is the part of the white matter which connects the two hemispheres together, right? So all the way here on this model it says P, Q, P, O, S, which are the different parts of the corpus callosum, but you are not responsible to know them. Just know that the whole whitish structure here is called corpus callosum. What's the function of it?
connects the hemispheres.
It connects the hemispheres together. That's true. And then the small part of the corpus callosum, the line that you have here, it says letter L on this one. This one is called fornix. So this is the fornix. Fornix is a part of the corpus callosum. Which comes there. You see that? This is fornix. And then you guys remember that inside the brain you have some cavities. What's the name of this cavity?
Ventricles.
Ventricles. How many ventricles do you have?
Four.
You have two,
Lateral.
one,
A third
third, one,
and fourth.
ventricle. The lateral ventricles, one here and the other one is in the other half. Is the cavity that you see here. It says letter T on it. This one. This is the lateral ventricle. And then the next ventricle that you have to know is third ventricle. The third ventricle, guys, is located, that's the line that you have here. This is thalamus, and it's just around the thalamus, the line here. So all the way here, the line here is third ventricle.
Okay.
Third
Third
ventricle. It's third ventricle.
Okay.
Okay, you see that? just inferior to the
Like in
thalamus,
everything.
you have a groove. This groove is the third ventricle. So everybody fine with the third ventricle?
Yes.
And then you have your fourth ventricle. The fourth ventricle, guys, is located just here, the hole that you have here. And it's between the cerebellum here and pons here. Can you see the hole here where my
Oh,
pencil
yes.
is?
Yes.
This is the fourth ventricle.
Okay.
What is it between?
It's between the
Cerebellum.
cerebellum and pons.
Okay.
This is what?
Fourth.
And you guys know that the third ventricle is connected to the fourth ventricle by a duct. Here, what's the name of this duct?
Interventricle.
Cerebroaqueduct. So that's the duct.
Cerebral.
So where my pencil is the
That's
duct
the former.
which connects the third ventricle to the fourth ventricle. We call it
Cerebral aqueduct.
cerebroaqueduct.
Interventricle is between the ventricles.
Is it clear? And also we said that inside the ventricles you have the network of the capillaries that we call them what?
Choroid plexus.
Very good. What's the function of the choroid plexus?
They produce the CSF.
It produces the
CSF.
CSF, cerebrospinal fluid for you. That's the bluish structure that you have here inside the lateral ventricle. Can you see that where my pointer is? The blue one.
Yeah.
The blue one is the
Choroid.
choroid plexus.
Yes. Okay.
Don't mix it with the pink one here. That's another structure. So the blue one is the choroid plexus. So that was about the cerebrum, the part of the cerebrum that we have to know. Any problem here? We go to the next major part of the brain, which is called diencephalon. Diencephalon, guys, consists of three major parts. Two of them are the largest part of the diencephalon. The largest part of the diencephalon here is this structure, the whole thing. That we call it thalamus. It has number 22, 12, I'm not sure. No, that's leather. That's a
Okay.
leather N. That's a leather N on it.
Okay.
I need the glasses and I resist because I don't want to show you that I'm more than 40. But this is the hyperopia age related. Not this one. This is thalamus.
I was actually looking for that on the
No, I'm talking about my vision. No, this is thalamus. Okay, so the largest part of the diencephalon consists of thalamus. Okay. And then the two parts of the thalamus are connected together, guys, by the structure that we call it intermediate mass. Can you see the yellowish dot here in the center? Can you see that? This is called intermediate mass. Intermediate mass is a structure which connects two parts of the thalamus. Everybody saw it. Connor, you see it. You're tall enough, you don't need a table chair. So this is the intermediate mass. The next part of the diencephalon, which is important here, guys, is this area here. This area here, which says letter G on it. This area is called hypothalamus. Letter G is hypothalamus. And then the third part of the diencephalon is the pinkish area here where my pointer is. This is called pineal gland. This is one of the endocrine glands. And it's also called epithalamus. So we can say that the diencephalon consists of three major parts: thalamus, hypothalamus, and epithalamus. Epithalamus consists of the pineal gland here, the pinkish structure. The pinkish structure here is the pineal. Okay. From the hypothalamus, guys, you have some nuclei. Nuclei is the plural form, the nucleus, which we have a lot of nuclei inside the hypothalamus, but two of them come out from here. Can you see these two whitish round structures here? It says letter M. I cannot read the other one, but this one is letter M. So these two white round things. These are the mammillary bodies.
Okay.
These are called mammillary bodies. They are very small. So make sure that you can find them when you have two parts together, and also make sure that when they are apart, still you can distinguish that this is the mammillary body. That's important because I may put a pointer here and you have just the half of the brain, so make sure that you know that this one here is mammillary body. So mammillary bodies. And then your hypothalamus here, guys, this is your hypothalamus, isn't it? It's connected to this endocrine gland. This big endocrine gland here is called pituitary gland. You will see that in the endocrine. Pituitary gland. And you guys can see that the pituitary gland is connected to the hypothalamus by the stalk here. This stalk is called infundibulum. That's the stalk. Infundibulum. It connects the pituitary gland to the hypothalamus. Alright. So, one more time. This is the pituitary gland, this is the hypothalamus. These two are connected by the stalk here, which is called what?
Infundibulum.
Infundibulum. Okay, just we'll do the brain stem and we'll stop here. Okay, so this is your brain stem all the way. All the way here you have the brain stem, but here at the end this is your spinal cord. It starts with the spinal cord. Your brain stem, guys, consists of three major parts. This part here, from here to here, this area is called midbrain. Midbrain is the most superior part of the brain. This is the midbrain. And then the first big bulge here, this bulge here, is called pons. Where my finger is pons. Pons is the second part, the middle part of the brain. And finally, when you come down, you have a small bulge here. This small bulge here is called medulla oblongata. So this is medulla oblongata, where my finger is. And medulla oblongata is the part of the most inferior part of the brain, which will connect to the spinal cord. Through which foramen here? What foramen we have here? Foramen magnum. So through the foramen magnum, the medulla oblongata will connect to the spinal cord. Here is the beginning of the spinal cord. Okay. The only thing that we have to know here are two parts of the midbrain. So from here to here, you have midbrain, right? Where my fingers are. Can you see this? If you look at it closely, you will see some yellowish lines here. This yellowish area here is the part of the midbrain that we call it cerebral peduncle. This area. The yellowish part here. The yellowish part here is called cerebral peduncle. And then we have two, bulges here that we call them. This one is called superior. They are very small. And this one is called inferior colliculi, inferior and superior colliculi. So in general, these are the parts of the midbrain. The whole thing is the midbrain. The yellowish bundles here are cerebral peduncles, and then you have two bulges here. Can you see these two? One, two. Can you see these two? The superior one is called superior colliculi, and the inferior one is called inferior colliculi. So that's for today. Please, the brain models are over there on that table. You can take one for each.